Welcome to Washington, East to West Sports. This is episode 83. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Kevin Ardall and Sean Beatty, and we are joined once again by a special guest, recurring special guest, JT underscore the Ginger. If you want to reach us on Twitter, go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Beatty Matt. Sean is Sean underscore Beatty. Kev's at Kev's Believe the first thing believes me in a three. JT is at JT underscore the Ginger. Kevin changed his Twitter name on me, so now my spiel is not correct. What is it now, Kevin?
It is C to believe, with the C at being SEA as in Seattle.
Okay. So follow Kevin at C2Believe, SEA to Believe on Twitter. Go ahead and comment on our YouTube videos. Tell us what you think about the topics we talk about. Like our videos, dislike our videos. Doesn't even matter. Let's start off with the OL Reign. Since we were last on the podcast, they have not won a game. So clearly we're about to bring them good luck. They lost 2-2. They tied 2-2 to the Portland Thorns on July 10th. And then they played yesterday, July 17th, and lost to the Kansas City Current 1-0. They are back in action in a couple weeks on Saturday, July 30th against Angel City FC. And if you have Paramount Plus, you can watch them through that. So please support the OL Reign in their season. Let's also touch on the Seattle Storm, and they have done well since we were last on the podcast. They have won 4 in a row, defeating Indiana, the LA Sparks, Dallas, and Indiana. They have Chicago, Phoenix, and then, you're running out. You got 3 chances left to see Sue Bird, and you've got one of those on July 24th against Atlanta. I'm planning to go to August 7th against Las Vegas at noon. So, if you're out there, you watch the pod for some reason, you see me in my, I'm not going to be having a Sue Bird jersey. Those are a little costly for me, but I'll probably get like a t-shirt or something, I think, or maybe a hat. So go ahead and support the show however you can and support the Seattle Storm. And then also the Seattle Sounders. Since we were last on the podcast, they have not been doing so hot. They lost 3-0 to Portland on July 9th. And then they lost 1-0 to Nashville and 1-0 to Chicago in their most recent games. So Sounders on a little bit of a rough patch, but they are taking on Colorado this Saturday. So please support the Seattle Sounders. But we have a lot to talk about this show. So let us start our bigger topics with the Seattle Kraken. So they had the NHL Draft just shortly after we recorded the podcast on Thursday. And with the first pick for the Kraken, 4th overall, they were able to select Shane Wright from the Kingston OHL. I forget what they're I think they're the Kingston. Sean, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know they're Kingston. I don't know what their mascot is, but
I can't remember.
I'm going to share my screen here and show you all of the picks from the Seattle Kraken. A lot of good names on this list for those who may not know who some of these players are. Jaeger Ferkis is their 2nd round pick. He is from Moose Jaw. So if you follow the WHL, which you should because you live in the Northwest, and that's, outside of the NHL, that's probably the biggest hockey league around. And it's an amateur hockey league, and a lot of players from that league do end up getting drafted. So please support the WHL, support your Tri-City Americans, your Seattle Thunderbirds, whatever team you want to support. But this is the list of players that they drafted. So Sean, what did you think of the Seattle Kraken draft?
Well, I was quite surprised that Shane Wright was at 4. So I'm quite happy that Shane Wright fell to 4, since he for a year was considered the best prospect in all of hockey to take. I believe we talked about this on the podcast that right before we left, you said it was a foregone conclusion. I said, I heard the rumor that it was the defenseman was going number 1 overall, but and Shane dropped a little bit. With that said, at 4, you can't really pass up on Shane Wright. You got to take the upside. And honestly, like a team that has talked about defense, team that has said they could coach defense, team that can do that. If you think you can coach that, and you think you can teach that, then this draft is perfect because it's a ton of forwards. Like, it is the position you don't have goal scorers. And honestly, Shane Wright and Ferkis, I don't know a lot of people in this draft, but I knew those 2. And the fact that the Kraken got both of those 2 in their top 35 picks is a pretty big deal. Actually, I really wanted, when the Sharks traded back, I wanted Ferkis, and they did not take them. I like the Sharks trading back. did not like who they took in the first round, but liked their idea. But the Kraken got the guy I wanted, and so for the Sharks, and they didn't have to. They could wait 14 more picks too for him. So their first 2 picks are out of the park. I don't know a ton about everybody else, and so I won't pretend to know that I knew who the goalie was or David. I can't remember his name. Gautier, the singer. But honestly, like I think in general from the players I know and the idea of process versus results, it was a good process. Now the players obviously have to make the results work, but regardless, the process is, I would say, better than their expansion draft. So they clearly had a plan, weren't going to compete the first year, and then had this plan going forward. So let's see how the plan works out, but it is a good, solid plan right now.
Yeah, I would agree with most of what you said. I like them drafting forwards. They severely lack goal scoring this year. Obviously their defense and their goaltending could use work as well, but that was probably their biggest deficiency, was scoring goals. So loading up on forwards was a great move. Showing some of Jaeger's highlights here from his time in Moose Jaw this past season. So getting a solid forward there. They had 4 second-round picks, and I believe all but one went to the forward. Well, no, sorry. They picked up a goaltender.
Yeah, the other ones were all forward, but yeah, then the other was.
They're trying to load up on goal scorers and see what they can get out of their team, and especially since they have the Coachella Valley Firebirds now, they're going to have a lot better assets to develop their younger guys. So that's going to be great to see. But yeah, Shane Wright falling to 4 was, it sounded like when I was watching the draft that a lot of people were shocked that he fell that far, and I myself was very shocked he fell that far. I was a little concerned they might try and address defense, because I feel like that was probably their what they were thinking they were going to have.
I think they would have gone that way if Shane wasn't there.
Yeah. So I think they just took the best available player, which you can hardly ever go wrong with. So taking Shane at 4 was perfect. And we had Matty Beniers last year with the 2nd overall pick. Now we have Shane with the 4th pick. Hopefully those 2 guys will, I imagine Matty will probably make the team this next year. Not so sure about Shane, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did. But hopefully those 2 guys will be centermen for this team for years to come. Kevin, any thoughts on the Kraken's draft?
Yeah, my favorite player probably besides those 2 would be Kako or Coco.
The goalie.
Kako. Just because it just shows fierceness. And are you gonna fuck with a guy that his name is Kako? Because no, just purely no. So no. Overall, sounds like we had a pretty good draft. The rest I have no damn idea. So we're just gonna watch and see.
I will say so. Ferkis, the guy you showed, Matthew, he's really like skillsy, but he's small, and so that was the only problem that people had. But what people will not remember, because the way Matty plays, he's kind of small, or plays small, but isn't he like 6'1", 6'2"?
Yeah. Matty Beniers is a big,
and he's
big
only
kid.
19, and Shane Wright is 18, and he's 6'1". So like the size that they're going to give up by Ferkis, who I think will end up moving off of that position, will be balanced out by having very large centers either way. Like it's not going to be an issue. They're not going to run out a small line because they got him. He's going to probably pair next to one of these big centers who is going to end up probably being 6'3", 6'2". So that is not a problem.
Yeah, and they generally do that with, like Patrick Kane was a smaller guy coming into the draft, and they paired him with some bigger guys like Marian Hossa, and then prime example is Kyler Yamamoto, Spokane native, shout out. He plays for Edmonton, and they pair him with Leon Draisaitl, who's 6'4", 240. Yeah. So you generally pair your bigger guys with your smaller guys, because your smaller guys are probably going to weave through the defense more so, and your bigger guys are going to get to the net and just put home a rebound or something like that. So I think overall they have a lot of good pieces here. We'll just see how that all comes together. But overall, I think it was a very good draft for the Kraken. JT, any thoughts?
Oh, I have a ton. First off, number one thought, love the name. Jaeger Ferkis. I can get behind that. Especially just killing it at the top of your lungs from the cheap seats. That'll be a lot of fun. I kind of did just skim the first two picks. Not gonna lie, everything else was just kind of okay. We'll figure it out later. But I did note that Ferkis was definitely one that seems like he came on the scene over last year, really rising through the ranks in terms of like hockey evaluators. So that's interesting. And I want to say there's a tinge of ginge going on in that flow. I can't really tell.
Oh yeah, and
But-
and Jaeger. Oh yeah, there's a tinge of gin.
Okay, new favorite player on the Kraken, maybe. Now that Appleton's gone, he was the resident Ginger disciple, but might have to go with Yager here. Also, yeah, Shane Wright. That was pretty cool because looking up before the draft, it was like he was number one on a lot of different prospect lists by different like hockey writers and everything.
Matthew, let me share my screen real quick while JT keeps going.
So and seeing where he played in the OHL and having some points per game averages, seasons better or just along with Connor McDavid or Tavares, back when they were in that league. It's promising. It's like you see the potential, and it's exciting.
Yeah.
Hockey's new to Seattle, so that's exciting. Oh my gosh, he's got a ginger caterpillar across that.
There you go, JT.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There it is.
Wow.
There is some ginger
And
there.
blue eyes? Dang. That
Yeah.
could be my kid in
Wow.
12 years. But he doesn't skate. So
He could. Still time.
I love the flow. That's awesome. Not too many freckles. He must not get outside a lot. Get that vitamin D. Come on.
He's indoors playing hockey, JT.
Yeah.
All right, and we talked about the draft, but let's also talk a little bit about free agency. So the bigger moves to mention, Justin Schultz was with the Capitals, signed a 2-year deal with the Kraken. One of Sean's favorites, Martin Jones, has signed a 1-year deal with the Seattle Kraken. And in my book, and I'm sure others, the biggest signing would be Andre Burakovsky, Stanley Cup champion, who just signed a 5-year, $5.5 million deal, average annual value. So Sean, what did you think of the Kraken's moves in free agency?
Andre is a good player. It's a little bit of overspending, but that's what you do in free agency. You're gonna overspend, but it's a 5-year deal for 27. Yeah, he's 27. Not gonna burn you. You're not pulling a Sharks and paying guys till they're 39. So that's fine. If you overpay till age 32, it's fine, and he's not like a gross overpay, so that's fine. Martin Jones is a 1-year deal. Martin Jones has the talent. He's taken a team to a Stanley Cup. He just like a major league bullpen. I say use this example all the time. They are finicky. You have no idea what they're going to be most years. If he doesn't figure it out, it's not going to cost you a ton. It's not going to burn you because you're already just throw some stuff at a wall and see what sticks. And if Martin Jones sticks, it's like a huge win. So what I can say as watching him for 5 years is he plays the position of goalie. That is what I can confidently say he does in the NHL. He plays goalie. That's it. So he will be in net with big pads on at some point. There you go.
I mean, they had Chris Drieger, who had some injury issues. So I think this is to just kind of have a backup for your backup at this point, because Philip Grubauer is your goaltender at this moment in time. That could change, of course, depending on if somebody emerges. But at this point, it's Philip Grubauer, and then whenever you want to give him a night off, you could throw in Chris Drieger, you could throw in Martin Jones. Like, they have some options to put back there if they really want to.
I mean, 4 years ago, he was a top 3 goalie in the league. So, I mean, he has that potential. So for a backup, roll the dice. It's not a bad deal.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid deal, 1 year, just, see if he's worth it, and then you can move on if it doesn't work out after the season. So Justin Schultz, I do like, that adds some depth to defensemen, and I think Burakovsky will fit in. It's going to be interesting to see how this roster shapes out, because they had a lot of young guys, so it'll be interesting to see who all makes the team. especially with some of their signings as well. So we'll see how that roster shapes up in October. But unless anyone has any other Kraken stuff, I think we need to talk about. Yes. Oh, JT.
I will say, I did recognize the name of Martin Jones because I have played fantasy hockey before. And I was like, that guy was an elite goalie for me. How's he been doing recently? Ouchtown population, Martin Jones, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything else Sean said.
It was
But-
like top 3 to I can't stop a shot. And it was like it was
Free fall hard.
so it was yeah.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the Kraken draft. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at _Matt. Sean's at Sean_Betty. Kev is at C
To believe.
EO.
C
C to believe.
C to believe. Okay.
So
C
with
to
the C
believe.
being like C. in
SEA.
Seattle.
Okay. C to believe. And JT is at JT_ the ginger. Like our videos, dislike our videos, leave comments, tell us what you think of the topics we talked about. But now we are moving on to the greatest team in Seattle history, the Seattle Mariners. Okay, that's an over exaggeration. But since we were last on the podcast, they have not lost. So they swept San Diego, they swept Toronto, they swept the Nationals, and then they swept Texas. And now we're in the All-Star break. So there's a recap of their last couple weeks since we have last been on the pod. So let's keep this focused, and we'll I'm sure we'll go off on other topics. So I'm just gonna throw it to JT first. 14-game winning streak. What have you thought of the Seattle Mariners these last couple weeks?
Oh, I feel like the law of averages kind of catching up. A little luck doesn't hurt anyone. And yeah, over the last 4 weeks, 3 losses. Like, that's ridiculous. That's baseball. It's fun. It's kind of coming in all different shapes and sizes for game outcomes. I love me some Logan Gilbert. I just see so much potential there. I try to watch a Barry Pepper movie each day that he pitches. It's tough to keep that pace, but there's enough Barry Pepper movies out there, so I don't have any excuses. It's just how I prioritize my time in that day. Flexen was my boy last year, and I think he's holding solid. I think I was realistic on his just long-term ability, but I think I just keep looking at this pitching staff, and it's just like I think we're holding up. I think Ray started off shaky, but ever since that visit to Texas and him changing his grip on his slider. I'm blanking right now, but he changed his grip there, and it's really kind of like solidified. He's got more confidence pitching, and it just kind of leads me into just all the back ends we have, and I'm literally talking about below the waist, under the belt, just booties, these thick boys on these teams. Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh, pleasantly surprised that he's kind of growing into what we wanted out of him, and he's still young, and to be producing and catching, this pitching staff, it's fun. I mean, it's unrealistic, but enjoy it. I think that's what I have to say.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off you, JT. I am a Mariners fan who, doesn't generally believe in the Mariners, especially with the, 20-year history that has been going on. But, this last 14 games and them, coming out of, like you said, 3 losses since June 21st. When they started the streak, it was like 4 games, and I've been trying to watch a little bit of each game every time since that first 4-game winning streak started. And it's just different guys every time. I mean, pitching's looking good. It's just fun to be a fan of the Seattle Mariners right now. That's really all you can say, because they're playing good, they're winning baseball games, they're clearly having fun out there. Julio, whenever he smiles, how could you not smile? when you look into those big, beautiful eyes, like how can you not be happy to be a Seattle Mariners fan, really? So, Robbie Ray has kind of, after a slow start, picked it up. Logan has been Logan Gilbert, really should be an all-star. And we'll get to that, I'm sure. But it's just been a lot of fun to watch them play well, watch them win all these games. And, who knows how long this will keep going? Who knows if, the playoffs are in their future? But right now, it is a lot of fun to watch them play. And man, winning is great. Winning is so much fun. So just enjoy it, Mariners fans, because who knows how long this will last. And, this team looks like they could be in contention for a playoff spot. But at this moment in time, I'm not even going to think about that. I'm just going to enjoy the streak for what it is. And it's awesome. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's I think we were on here a couple weeks ago asking what was the best case scenario, and we're all like, oh man, Kevin 7-2, that was spicy. But the Mariners said, shut up, Kevin. Like, just won them all. Like, why only win 7? Why only win 6? Like me and Matthew said, just win them all. Like, why are we thinking so small? But no, it's like JT said, it was the way they did it. Cal Raleigh really, like you said, stepped up at the exact moment the Mariners needed him to. Like, Tom Murphy went down. It could have been a huge black hole. Cal was not playing well. Luis Trentz is one of, like, there's a lot of numbers that say he's one of the worst players in baseball right now. And you're just like, Cal Raleigh is going to have to play. He was going to get sent down, but they're like, we don't have anybody right now. You got to play. And he was like, all right, I'm just going to be really good. And they're like, okay, let's just be really good. Okay, like it's a hell of a time to pick to be really good, but we really need it. And he has, like, basically caught every day. Has a WRC plus of like 123, I believe, since that day that Tom went down. So I heard a stat, he is 4 times more valuable defensively than any Mariner during that time. So, like, his defense has been amazing on top of what he has been hitting. The month of July, he was the 4th most valuable Mariner in terms of WAR on pitching or hitting. So, like, he's just been fantastic. I think he's been a huge, like, reason as to why this team is, like, coming together, because what he's doing with this rotation too, because this rotation has had a lot of bumps, but people haven't noticed them. Marco's had some rough outings, but has been getting out of it. Kirby against the Blue Jays, like, 5 innings, 10 hits, or guys all over the base pass. Cal Raleigh's getting him to calm down, throw high strikes at 99. No one's catching it. Strikeouts when he needs it. Left bases loaded, 1 out. Did it, got out of it. Like, he is relying on some defense behind him, which the Mariners are a good defensive team too. I believe they're 8th in baseball in advanced metrics. And the hitting is, I think, 9th in WRC plus, runs created plus. The pitching is what's kind of been like the last bastion, and with Cal kind of normalizing and coming into his own, he has really been like a galvanizing factor for this team. So yeah, the bullpen is just full of monsters back there now. With Munoz and Castillo on their runs that they're on, they're just, you get them to the 6th inning with a lead, it's over. Swanson, like Penn Murphy, like all these guys out of nowhere just coming in throwing gas. And I think the Mariners had the 2nd most innings pitched of any team in baseball this season from their starters. So their starters are getting the job done. They're going at least 5-6, getting it there. The offense is doing enough, and the bullpen is just like, we're done now. Like, you ever thought the Yankees were going to beat? The Mariners are like, this is it. Like, they're like, and they're not doing it with guys they're spending a lot of money on. They're doing a Penn Murphy and Castillo, again, who they traded for Kendall Graveman. So they have now. It was a good trade. And Swanson and Munoz, traded for him too. Like, they're just doing it with these guys. And so if that starting rotation can continue to get the job done to this point, I don't see why, not going to win every game, but like why this good level of baseball can't at least continue to a certain extent. All comes down to those pitchers can keep it kind of going, eating some innings.
Kevin?
Yeah. As Sean kind of mentioned, the Mariners kind of laughed at our predictions and said, hold my beer. And that we're amateur hour over here. I kind of went back and looked at the last 2 weeks roughly of everybody. Like I've been noticing the hittings as we noticed is a little bit more consistent, kind of going through the list. Like Crawford hitting 360 OBP, which is top 3 in shortstops in the league in those 2 weeks. That Julio Rodriguez guy, you guys might have heard of him. Yeah, I don't know. Two home runs, 8 runs, 11 ribbies, 435 slugging, stolen base, sexy boy. Yeah. Then that Suarez guy, 3 home runs, 12 ribbies, 465 slugging, 8 runs. And then the Ty France finally heating back up this past week, and stuff like that. So the hitting is getting a lot more consistent. Plus Kyle Raleigh hitting 3 home runs and 11 ribbies. Finally getting a stride, as Sean already mentioned. We're getting a little bit more consistent at bats that we've been asking on this podcast for the last couple of weeks. And then, as mentioned, the whole rotation, like even guys like oh Jesus Christ, I totally forgot his name. JT's boy, the
Flex.
Flex. The numbers probably don't look solid, but like he's getting wins, like he's getting quality outings. Robbie Ray, 6 out of his last 7 starts with 6 innings pitched with 1 run or less. And then the last one, he went 6.2 with freaking 12 Ks. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's what you want out of that's what we kind of expected out of Robbie Ray out of the gate. And he just had kind of just like, oh, I'm getting there. And then he's just here. Bullpen, super solid. As we mentioned, Castillo. Sewald finally got his shit together because he was struggling for a little bit. Other than that, he didn't listen to this podcast and didn't recommend do the recommendation that I told you, which is you walk Juan Soto. You walk him. And
Juan Soto.
You didn't walk him, Sewald. Guess what happened? He fucking hit a dinger on you out of the damn park. Sorry. That's neither here or there.
I heard that's been happening a lot lately, especially today. But
What? Oh, yeah.
Mariners. If you're going to listen to our predictions about what you should do and listen to the other stuff. And when we tell you to walk Juan Soto because he's kind of good, walk him. No, all in all, this team has been absolutely phenomenal, and I'm kind of just sad that we had the All-Star break. But I'm happy and I'm sad at the same time. They deserve a break, even though Julio's not really getting one. And I'm just crossing these fingers right now, hoping that nothing happens. I'm going to knocking on wood right there. But I wanted him to stay hot, like continue the mass beat downs and stuff like that. They'll get back to it on Friday, but man, I would have loved to see just let the hot streak ride out. I don't want them to cool down to where, especially you're going to have some important, like you have Houston coming up in one of the series.
The next series.
It is the next series. Yeah, you have Houston. Yeah. Like those are the games now you definitely want to win because you want to catch games up on Houston. And the wild card situation is looking nice, but I hate to warn you. Let's look at the AL East, for example, where every team in the fucking division is 500 plus. Yeah. Because Baltimore also went on a hot streak and won like 9 or 10 games in a row. So literally there is nobody sub 500 in the AL East. It's just a shit show.
But they do have to play each other.
That is true, yes. But I'm just saying it just makes the wild card like so much more competitive, So let's try to get these games, especially since their fans are pieces of crap, as I've posted in the group. Because apparently they want to not kill, but like take out Julio. So yeah, you got to get these games on Houston. So I would have rather them just continue the hot streak without the break, but I know they do need rest. So hopefully they can pick up where the hotness cooled off and just keep doing it. God damn it.
All right. Well, Kevin, I think Julio stayed pretty hot today, if I do say so myself, because
I don't want him to overheat though.
That's true. Julio did participate in the home run derby today. He beat Corey Seager in the first round. He beat the defending 2-time champ Pete Alonso in the second round. Couldn't quite finish the job. Lost to Juan Soto in the finals. But Julio hit 62 home runs in the first 2 rounds. only hit 18 in the final one. So he hit a lot of home runs today, and it's cool to see the national attention. Hopefully he'll get now. Not that he probably wasn't getting a lot of it before, but now he'll probably be getting a lot more of it. And on the subject of All-Stars, Ty France finally got a nod after people getting hurt and people not wanting to play. So Ty France is officially an All-Star, as well as Julio. But are there any players on the Mariners that we are upset about with the snubs? I will throw out Logan Gilbert's name. I know there are a lot of good pitchers, but I thought he had a chance, but he didn't get a nod. But that's okay. Hopefully, he'll continue to play well and get that nod next year when the All-Star game is hosted in Seattle. So that would be great. But to see Ty finally get that recognition is great. Julio, I mean, he's been absolutely awesome. So 2 All-Stars this year. And of course, anything with fan voting might not be an accurate representation of the best players. So take the All-Star selection with a grain of salt. But hopefully next year, I believe in 2001, the Mariners had, I think it was 6 All-Stars, if I'm not mistaken. Sean might be able to look that up for me. But boy, I want to say it was like Ichiro. For the 2001 All-Star game, it was Ichiro, Edgar, Brett Boone.
They had 8 or
Cameron.
Mike
Cameron. I think there was a pitcher or 2.
There's Jeff Nelson. Was it?
No. What's his name? Oh my God.
There's 8 players. Yeah, 8 players.
You got a list.
Freddie. Yeah. Okay, I got it here. Freddie Garcia, Kazuhiro Sasaki, Ichiro, Mike. Yeah, Mike Cameron, Edgar Martinez. Oh, hold on. There's a picture. No, my stupid internet. John Olerud. Okay. Ichiro, Kazuhiro Sasaki, Brett Boone, Mike Cameron, John Olerud, Jeff Nelson, Freddie Garcia, and Edgar Martinez. And Lou was the manager.
Gotcha. So, I mean, that's going to be tough to top in a 116 win season. So, but I expect to have a good amount. Expect to have more All-Stars than this year, I would say.
The starting rotation lineup went Ichiro, then 4th went Brett Boone, 5th was John Olerud, 7th was Edgar Martinez, and number 2 was a guy who had just left, a guy named Alex Rodriguez. So if Alex Rodriguez had stayed, that is half of the Mariners in the starting block lineup for the Mariners that year.
Yeah, Seattle will get out the vote when the All-Star game's in Seattle. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Kevin, what are your thoughts on Ty France, Julio being All-Stars, and are you upset? How upset are you that Logan Gilbert wasn't named an All-Star?
I mean, we kind of covered this previously, but I mean, yeah, sure. And honestly, had Robbie Ray started out the way he's been doing over his last 7-8 outings, he probably would have been in as well, because he's just been phenomenal over the last 2 months. I mean, yeah, some bullpen guys, but I mean, there's so many national names out there, like the boys in New York, in Clay and Cuban Missile. Whatever his name is, I forgot. That you just, and also too, like how many times are you going to have? There's so many starters that are named that bullpen guys are rarely going to get in there as well, other than like 1 or 2. So, I mean, I like to see him, and he'll probably get in there next year. But there's just so many good starting pitchers in the AL that I'm not surprised that he didn't make it. So. I hear that Shane guy down in Tampa Bay is pretty good, and he's taking the nod to Kershaw, or he's going with Kershaw's with the Dodgers, but yeah, so they're getting the starts. But I hear that Shane guy is pretty good this year.
Not bad. Sean, what'd you think of the All-Stars?
Yeah, I think Ty France and Julio were the clear choices. I think I called 3. I called Logan Gilbert getting in, but I am kind of on that fence. He's like the 12th best American League starter, and depending on injuries and where you kind of fall, I'm okay with him not making it. I don't know how many of the starters above him or who didn't make it with the reserves and all that stuff, because frankly, I don't care too much. It's an all-star thing. And honestly, I want a lot of the Mariners just to rest up. Julio's fine. He's a kid. He let him run around out there. But Ty France, you hurt your elbow just like a couple weeks ago. Please don't do a whole lot. I don't need you to run. Cal Raleigh, I don't need you running around out there. Logan Gilbert, I don't need you throwing more innings. Like, I'm okay this year if they don't want to really play a lot of in this game. So I'm okay with Julio. But yeah, let the young bucks do the thing. Let the older guys, Ty France, he's not that old, but rest up. You got a little elbow. So I'm a little bummed that Logan didn't get at least a closer look, but I'm okay with it. I think next year he needs to be in it. And I just looked up something. The Mariners in the American League starters, they have all 5 of them are in the top 25 in WAR this year already. So that's pretty cool for the American League. So there you go, Mariners.
JT, thoughts on the All-Stars snubs you're very upset about?
Not overly. It is fan voted. I'm not overly upset. It's always nice to see your own players on your own team participate, but when you see that Pujols and Miggy, I mean, with all due respect, are in on the roster, you're like, okay, it's an exhibition. It's just for fun. It's for the fans. It really shouldn't matter. If I'm Ty France, I don't know. Would you rather be snubbed and just told that, keep that chip on your shoulder, go into the second half, show them, prove it that you should have been? I mean, it's almost kind of like you can't get mad. They're like, oh well, Trout withdrew, and so Ty France, here you go. It's like, well, thanks. I don't even want to fly down there at this point, but I don't think of any big snubs. I always like to see like the random names of like one player off the one team because like they have to be there. Shout out to CJ Crone. I think he's an all-star. I think he earned it. I don't think it's just like a cast off vote.
Who's the A's guy, JT? Blackburn?
Yeah, I think Paul Blackburn, which kind of solid year. I think somewhat earned it. Pirates. David Bednar. I mean, no one's gonna know who that is, but I mean, he is the closer there. So
Minter from Arizona.
Yeah, what was the fun one? Oh, we just
although he's had a crazy year, by the way. Minter's had a nuts year.
Oh, so has this D-backs All-Star, the one and only.
Isn't that
Mantiply?
Mantiply. Sorry, I got the team mixed up. Yeah, Mantiply. That's who I was thinking of. Yeah.
His K to walk ratio is pretty much infinite. Like I think he's on a streak of like 34 strikeouts without a walk or something. Last time I checked, which was like a week or 2 ago. But it's the All-Stars. I mean, it's interesting to see some names where like, oh yeah, I forgot how good of a season Jock Peterson has been having. Like it's just such a common name. He's kind of that 4th outfielder there and for the Dodgers in the past, but now he's with the Giants, and he's really contributing on a good team. So it is what it is. That's mine.
Well, I mean, let's just say for funsies' sakes that the game is tied after 9 innings, they decided to go to a home run derby. And wouldn't you know it, Seattle's Julio Rodriguez and Ty France, along with Houston's Kyle Tucker, would compete for the AL. And on the NL side, it's Pete Alonso, Ronald Acuna Jr., and Kyle Schwarber. So who are you taking on that side? And you know what? I do have a Mariners bias, but I believe all 3 of those other guys were in the home run derby. Now, 2 of them didn't make it out of the first round. So, do with that what you will. And Julio went to the finals. But Ty France and Kyle Tucker did not compete at all. So Julio got a little bit of a warm up, and the other 3 guys did get a nice little warm up. So I'd probably take the NL just for that fact alone. But I do kind of miss the days. I don't know about you guys. Maybe it's just me. I miss the days when the All-Star game mattered and it determined home field advantage. I don't mind exhibition games, but like, I don't know. It was kind of nice to have the All-Star game mean something instead of just a bunch of guys out there. Like the NBA All-Star game, like throw a bunch of alley-oops, shoot it from the logo a bunch of times. Like, who cares? That's fine. NHL All-Star game is for funsies. It's 3-on-3, whatever. And the Pro Bowl is hardly a thing anymore and should never be a thing ever again. But the All-Star game was kind of like cool in Major League Baseball, because for a while there it actually counted, but now it doesn't. So, I mean, I guess if you're gonna make it a exhibition game after tied, screw it. Let's just try and hit it over the fence a bunch of times. So, Sean, what do you think?
I get what you're saying, but it was stupid that that it meant anything. It's not like you can't have like the Orioles determining if the Yankees get World Series advantage or not. You can't get like a Cedric Mullins deciding if Aaron Judge gets World Series advantage. Like you just can't do that. Like that's not like it's not baseball. It's not the idea of it. It's a what you should do with every single sport is the Squid Games thing, and put all the bonus money they get in a giant thing above the stadium. Like you're all playing for that amount of cash. Like you're gonna split that cash if you win this game, because a lot of these guys like a home run derby and some of these other guys get more money if they win. And just play that up. Like, look, you're all playing for more money. The NHL does that. Like you get $1 million if you win. Just lean into that. Like we all know they get paid to play. Say, hey, each of you get $1 million if you play. Or have something cool. Like if you hit a home run, you get another $10,000 or whatever. Or just do something cool in it. You get the best play of the game is voted on, but you get like 5,000 or something like that. Make it like cool. I can't hear you, Matthew.
So not having the game count, but having financial incentives to make them play a little bit.
Well, I mean, yeah, they never play, but like try something, like you do something cool and you do that. Like it might not even be something like a hit a home run, but like maybe you do something like, I don't know, like steal a base or, something like just something stupid, like do some stuff and then you get some money for it. Like, because it's exhibition, but you want them to kind of play for something, but not that determines like the championship at the end of the year. But like just have some money, because we all know that they get paid to win more. Just lean into it. It already happens. We already know that they get paid if they win the game. So just tell us and show us and do things with it. You don't have to
big check at the end, like giant check.
Do the Squid Games thing and put the thing up above, and then go see the $1 million in cash, like hanging outside the press box and be like, that's the cash you're playing for right there. Like,
or just like make it really creative, like UFC, different fight of the night, submission of the night. Be like, exit velo hit of the night, long distance, home run. You could really get nerdy with like
strikeout taunting, like whatever.
Like nastiest pitch of the night, biggest spin rate. You could like do like these little incentives for them to actually just like overly compete, or just craziest web gem catch or double play, or what
you could even lean in the exhibition. It's like funniest moment, like when Kruk like went up against Ray Johnson and wore the helmet backwards. Like you don't even have to, like, it's not a serious baseball game, so you can have fun with it too. Like best moment, funniest moment, things like that, and you vote on it, get a little bit of money for that, whatever you want to do. Just like it's a fun baseball game and lean into it rather than like don't be too serious about it, because I think if you're trying to be serious, these players aren't going to take it that serious, because at the end of the day it doesn't mean anything. So play up the fun aspect of it.
Kevin, any thoughts? And who are you taking in that home run derby?
I'm taking the National League, by the way.
Okay.
I'd probably take the AL, just because you have two guys coming in fresh.
Yeah, but JT, correct me if I'm wrong, Tucker just got back from being hurt, didn't he?
Yeah. No.
I mean, I'm reading this article. It says Julio Rodriguez, Ty France, along with Houston's Kyle Tucker. That's what.
Yeah,
I'm more of it. I'm hoping it doesn't happen, because I don't want Julio to get hurt. And as we mentioned, like Ty France is just getting back from an elbow. Like I don't want him out there doing home run derby. Like I'd rather them not do that. So if my vote is for none of the above, but I mean, if they're all healthy, I'd probably give it to AL probably. But I mean, with the injuries, probably NL, I guess. Yeah.
JT, who are you taking in this home run derby theoretically?
Oh no, it's gonna happen. I'm calling it. I want to see like tie at the end of 9. I'd probably give it to the NL, but I'm just my mind's just racing on ideas for this thing. Like we should have a futures game where, like rookies and then like sophomores play against each other. Like that would be interesting. Like the day before, like let's take a full week off. Like why do we only take like 4 days? It's such a long season. Like we have a home run derby on a Monday. I guess it's not going to compete, ratings wise with anything else. But it's in July. What else is going on? I don't know. It's just I think, we've probably touched on it, or I've listened to you guys touch on it. The MLB does a horrible job marketing itself, which seems like, how do you do that? I don't know. Maybe they're friends with Larry Scott, but Pac-12 is not doing too well in that regard. So they need to spice it up. They need some new young blood, not only for talent on the field for entertainment, but in this marketing department, social media, I just feel like it's there at the fingertips and they're just not utilizing or executing and leveraging to the best of their ability.
All right. Well, before we talk second half of the season, let's talk about the future. And when I say that, I mean the young guys. So let's get a prospect report here. And I'm actually going to start because this showed up on my Twitter feed of Emerson Hancock wheeling and dealing at the Futures game. I believe this was Saturday. Sunday. My apologies. So Emerson looked good in his, I believe, lone inning of work. So that was,
If you're umpire on that call.
But yeah, that was the prospect update I have. JT, any prospect updates on your end?
Noelvi Marte needs to go up a level. What he's done over the last month, he's there. So I'm hoping maybe after this kind of All-Star break for everyone, we see him move up. I don't know if there's room. I don't know, logistics, but he's proven himself over his last 100 play appearances, 357 average, 27 runs, 21 ribbies, chips in, 6 stolen bases, only struck out 12 times to walking 13 times, 8 home runs. I mean, it's there, it's prevalent, it's kind of almost funny. He had this long kind of hit streak, or almost having a hit every single game over the last month, except for 2 or 3 games. And then Everett comes to town, to the Tri-Cities. They give him Friday off, and then the next 2 games, Saturday, Sunday, he's 0 for 9 with 2 strikeouts. It's just hey, way to go, young buck. He went 4 for 5 on Thursday night with a home run, 2 runs, 3 RBIs. We're going to reward you with a day off. I don't understand that about baseball, because he comes back and he's just flat. And so, but he is more than proven himself. I want to see him challenged. I think he's ready to be promoted. So that'd be fun to see. I don't know if it's going to happen though.
Kevin, any prospect updates on your end?
Yeah. As he already mentioned that, and then Hancock. Kyle Lewis has had some good play down. He had 4 games in a row with a home run. So it's good to see him kind of getting back in the fray. We've already mentioned, I think last week or the last podcast, about Edwin Arroyo with a 914 OPS on the season, and he hit his 13th home run. I think it was 2 days ago, roughly, I think it was Saturday, more or less. The main one that I want to call out, that it's a prospect that I think is going to be hitting a lot of people's tongues a little bit more often, that I'm disappointed that Sean and I didn't go see him. I don't know if JT saw him over the weekend, and his name is Bryce Miller. Literally had a poop fest. Looks like 6 innings pitched, 0 runs, 0 walks, 10 Ks, 61 strikes on 92 pitches. And he's been doing good things beforehand too. I think we drafted him last year, and he was in the same class as Ford. He's a name to keep an eye out on. I think now is it a crazy Hancock situation? No, but it's kind of like the other ones that we've mentioned, like the guy that we watched earlier this season. I totally forgot his name already. Who was the pitcher that we went and saw over at
Adam Macko?
Macko, yeah. It could be like an Adam Macko situation, like a guy that could eventually, come up and be, in rotation kind of guy, or even a bullpen kind of guy. So yeah, keep your eyes out for Bryce Miller. He's been turning heads. He's had a pretty good season so far. And then I saw a tweet the other day about Lazaro Montes 17-year-old kid playing for the Mariners DSL with only in 25 games. Crazy ass numbers. 347, 452, 720, 1.172 with 18 runs on 26 hits with 5 home runs and 22 RBIs. Like, sweet Lord Almighty. Yeah. And the kid has got beautiful swing too. So that's another name you should be kind of keeping your eyes out for. Other than that, we already kind of covered everybody else, I feel like, unless Sean's got some other names.
Sean, anyone else you want to mention?
Tyler Dollar needs to get more love. Here he's just, it doesn't even make sense, but he's just been really good. Like, I never would have seen it coming. He was on any hype trains, but at a certain point when you're, 90 innings into the season, you got a 1.6 ERA. I mean, you're doing something, and it's AA. It's not like he's doing it at high A and he's grossly above. And he's the same age as Jared Kelenic. Like at a certain point, he's the same age as Hancock. Like, we're talking about Hancock doing all this thing because he's got the pedigree, he's got the draft status. At a certain point, like the Moneyball thing is, if you could get people out, you just get people out. It doesn't matter where you're drafted or where you're from, what you are. If you get people out, it doesn't matter. And Tyler Dollar's getting people out. And so I think he needs to be, I don't know what they're planning on doing, if they're going to call like Kirby and Logan Gilbert that essentially just didn't really pitch AAA ball much. Maybe that they're waiting on Kirby's innings limit and they're going to leapfrog some of these two guys to help them like fill in for Kirby. So I don't want to say like JT said with like Marte, which he's correct in jumping him. I don't think they need to jump these two guys to AAA because they might just be waiting. They're like, okay, we see what we need. We're going to jump you to the majors to get you some innings to give Kirby some relief. And because Kirby clearly needs a rest. He's kind of winding down this All-Star break, showed up at a really good time for Kirby, who got sent down solely for just inning stuff and just
his last start wasn't good either in Tacoma.
Well,
he didn't have a good hit.
It's not even, and I don't even care what his AAA stuff is. It's just he's pitching a lot of innings, for really those 2 years in a row for the first time in a long time. He's at 64 innings now. He's like, his previous before was 2021 and it was 41 innings. Like, he's already 20 innings more than he's pitched as a pro at this point. So he's gonna give him a little bit of rest, give him a little thing, get him out there, see how many more innings you got, and then let these other guys start kind of eat some more innings and do some other things, whatever you got to do, because Kirby's not gonna finish the year. But yeah, JT's right. Marte, I want to see Edwin, or I want to see Arroyo move up. That he needs to be doing his thing, because like I get he's 18 and he's in low A, but a 140 WRC plus, man, like, and 400 plate appearances. I think I've seen what I need to see at this point. It's gonna be a step up, and he's only 18, but you're 140, you're half the season. Yeah, like you are hitting well enough at this level. Like and it's been when you're 13 and 20 already at low A at 18. Like, let's just see what you got, man. Let's just see you have a over 520 slugging. Like, okay, let's move on. So I want to see Edwin. Everybody else is correct, and the people they need to move up. But yeah, I want to see Edwin Arroyo move up, and I want to see more love for Tyler Dollar.
Also, for people out there who haven't heard, big win for minor leaguers a few days ago, as Major League Baseball agreed to pay minor leaguers $185 million to settle a federal lawsuit alleging violations of minimum wage laws. So 120 million will be split among the players, 55 million will go to the lawyers, and 5.5 will cover reimbursements of the suit. So that is a nice step for minor leaguers to be paid a livable wage, because they do not make very much money at this moment in time, and that is not okay. And good on the minor leaguers for at least getting a pretty good amount of money in a settlement. So that'll help them all out greatly. But let's talk about even more future players, and let's talk about the MLB Draft, the 2022 MLB Draft. The Mariners had the 21st pick in the first round, and they selected Cole Young, a shortstop out of North Allegheny High School in Pennsylvania. He's a switch hitter. He's a high school senior. These guys will probably be able to tell you a little bit more about him, but that is the information I have. I do want to give a quick shout out to players I have covered, and J.R. Ritchie out of Bainbridge High School was drafted 35th overall, so congratulations to him. And then Tudor Lake's Jackson Cox was drafted 50th overall by the Colorado Rockies. So kudos to those two guys. Washington kids getting drafted in the top 2 rounds. So way to go, guys. And Kevin, what can you tell me about Cole Young?
Yeah, he's a shortstop coming out of high school. As you said, switch hitter. He's got I like his swing a lot. I think he's got a very natural swing. And he's a guy that's not going to really he's not like a top 5 draft guy, but he's a guy that kind of checks all the boxes, so to speak. Like good arm, like good defensive, like solid defensive play, good swing. Mechanics are good. Like overall, I liked the pick, and I thought we needed a little bit more, even though I know people are gonna be like, oh, Marte and Arroyo, for shortstop depth, but I think we need more. And honestly, he could probably, he can play shortstop. He could probably possibly play second, or the other kids move. But we needed infield depth for future, and I liked kind of like what they did there, and I like their second and third picks as well. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, Sean, Cole Young, what are we getting? And any other names you like? I mean, I see Hogan Windish on this list. That's a great name. So any other names you want to highlight there?
Cole Young's kind of a contact guy. So just a better version of Adam Frazier is kind of what I've learned from him, with some speed, which is fine. What I just like, and not in particular, I did see a stat that Tyler Locklear had the highest ever slug in VCU's history, which was over 700 slugging percentage, which was pretty good. So that's pretty good for OPS, let alone just your slugging. So that'll be all right. But they went upside again. They drafting high school guys. High school pitcher was with their third pick that they did. A high school shortstop, a early year third baseman. Yeah, coming out not as and so they're going. Their next pick was another high school player, right-handed pitcher. So they're going. What they did is what we talked about last time. Sorry, my mouse froze there. What we did was they built up with the Hancocks, with the Kirbys, with the Logan Gilberts, build that base, that solid base of guys who are, it's a good process, but you're getting some talent infused in the system because they didn't have much. But go safe, go for a couple years, go safe. And then these last couple of years, lean heavy into the upside guys, the Fords, some of these other guys, Arroyos, all these super crazy young guys. Now they're all not going to hit, but it is okay, we've got the base, we've got it solid. Now you need that frosting. You need the thing that's going to sell the people on it. You got the cake. Now get the sprinkles, get the vanilla frosting, get all those little balloons that you make out of those. I don't know, the other different color.
What kind of cakes do you make? Sorry, keep going.
You need the bread, and then you put the frosting on it. Okay. You got to get the base. You got to get the cake to stay in the shape, and that's what the Logan Gilberts are. But the Julio Rodriguez is that sweet, sweet frosting, right? Right? You getting it now? You getting the analogy now?
Yeah.
And then the sprinkles are the Martes and the Arroyos. So that's how you make a cake. There we go. So, but then that's what they're doing. They're getting the frosting now. They're getting these young guys who have upside, who have the Julio upside, who have these I could be generational talent. They're also looking at this guy named Celestine, a 16-year-old Cuban player, projected to be the next Wander Franco. He's projected to sign with Seattle in September. He's 6'1" already. So
God,
he's a monster. Everyone's freaking out about him, and he's already rocking Mariners hats and stuff. So it's basically a foregone conclusion. He's a Mariner. So it's you're getting these guys with this potential. You're getting these guys that could. And like Kevin said, I don't want it to for sure. Arroyo, Marte, they're both very young still. They might not work out. There's a lot of baseball still to go. So load up on a lot of these infielders because the Mariners just got a ton of infielders and pitchers. They have a lot of outfielders. They don't need a ton of outfielders right now. They need a ton of infielder and pitchers. And guess what the Mariners did? High upside starting pitchers or high school pitchers, high school bats, and early year college bats. They just got a bunch of the guys that the process is correct. And so just keep doing what you're doing right now because it seems to be working. And I'm really like the direction that they're going with these things. Regardless of player, the direction of position and need, they're going really well.
JT, what are your thoughts on Cole Young and the rest of the draft? What do you think of Reed Van Scotter? I think that's a great name.
I wish it was Van Scooter. That would be even better. But Van Scotter, solid. Windish, I'm liking it. Ashton Izzy, pitcher, just getting funky with his stuff. I can see it. Tyler Locklear, related to Heather, maybe get some sweet tickets to head home plate. Yeah, can't rule it out. I am with Cole Young being in high school. It's like cool, lots of pedigree there. You know, see you in 3 years. Best of luck, like a Harry Ford. You know, let's start the grind. You're professional. Just start getting into that mindset. New chapter in your life. I really key in on Tyler Locklear, being from VCU, and being a third baseman. I think that's what we're really lacking in terms of like someone we could say, all right, we've got a third baseman on the way. I'm hoping maybe this is it. Maybe he's like 2 years away or so. That'd be nice. And then kind of Sean mentioned just all his stats. I mean, second team All-American, Baseball America, third team All-American, the Atlantic 10 most outstanding player this year. And then just what does he do? He hits dingers. He's power, third base, 6'3", 210. You just see some of the pictures. I don't know what his vibe is, but he's got the 5 o'clock shadow, and he's just there to ball. It gives the vibe I'm getting. So that's cool. I'm looking for that. Third baseman is something I was hoping for last year, and we got it this year. So one other name I wanted to point out, Washington, from out of Gonzaga by ways of born in Eagle, Idaho, Gabriel Hughes. He was the third pitcher taken in this draft and the first healthy one. And what he did up there in Gonzaga was do work. And Gonzaga is known for basketball, but they have a super underrated baseball program. So pretty cool to see. And going to the Colorado Rockies, good luck.
All right. Well, we're running low on time here, so I am going to end on this last topic. So they are at the All-Star break. The Mariners are currently sitting at 51-42, second in the AL West. We all made our predictions at the beginning of the season, but now that we are about halfway through the season, and based on how they have done, are your expectations changed? And I will go ahead and start on this one. I have always said that I don't care until August. That is still the case. However, great to see this win streak. Great to see them get above 500. And I mean, let's face it, the Mariners are the best ticket in town right now if you're in Seattle. So, oh, that hat is beautiful. So please go support the Seattle Mariners this year. I'm really planning to get out to a game, hopefully in August, if not definitely September, because this team is fun to watch, and regardless of what happens in the second half of the season, I just hope they're as fun as they have been these last 14 games and the first half of the season in general. So no, my expectations haven't changed. That might change in August when games really start to matter. Sean?
I just think I want to continue to see the young players develop, kind of like last year. What Cal Raleigh does with more at bats, how long they let Kirby go, what he looks like, how long they let Logan go, Julio Rodriguez development, what they're kind of looking at. I just want them to continue to play well. I don't need them again. I don't know if they make the playoffs. I wouldn't still bet on it to make the playoffs, but it's fun baseball in a year. I projected, I think, at like 82 to 88 wins, somewhere around there, which wasn't enough to make the playoffs. But if you're in meaningful baseball in September, that is what I kind of was hoping for, what I thought the upside was. I didn't think this year was the playoff year anyway. So right now it's they're in the playoff spot right now, and they're only a game out of like the first wild card. So just have fun with the rest of the year. And I think it's a win for me. It's like it's already been basically, unless they collapse completely, a unanimous win of a season already. And if they make the playoffs, it's even more. It's like the next tier of a win. But please, Mariner fans, don't, what I said at the beginning of the year, don't bank, Mila, don't bank on this year being wins or a bad or good year based on the playoffs, because playoffs I didn't think was much of a chance anyways, and the Vegas odds didn't have them as much. But they're playing well, and their young guys are playing pretty well across the board. And Kyle Lewis is rumored to come back on Friday, slot in at right field. He'll look much better than Sam Haggerty. Sorry, Sam Haggerty or Dylan Moore, but Kyle Lewis can play some baseball a little bit, so he would look really good at right field right now. It's too late, Kevin. He has no more. He should have. We talked about this on the podcast. Should have traded him during his all.
He looks good down below. I mean, now if he gets hot, like over the next month,
like the players, the teams want like you to stay healthy. Kyle Lewis has not been healthy for 3 years since I said trade him. Like that is not, his value plummeted. Like unfortunately, but that ship has sailed. But like honestly, like it's just been a fun year so far. So just have competitive baseball at the end of the year. That's really what I'm hoping for.
Kevin?
Honestly, when you look at it on paper, they should be good, because you come back, you play against Houston, you go against Texas, and then play Houston again. Then you have 2 series, they're not back to back, against the Yanks, and then you have a small series against the Padres, and then the rest of the season. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say you stat, Kevin, before, because it was to your point. After August 10th, I think they have 9 games the rest of the year, all of August and September, or 10 games where they play a team above 500 or above.
Yeah.
Everyone else after August 10th is below 500.
It's literally after the Yankees on all that. They only play the Padres for like a 3-game series. All the rest of it is Oakland. I always want to say Anaheim. Damn it, Angels, Texas, and Kansas City, and Detroit. That's it.
And they're still technically in Anaheim. Just saying that, Kevin. Go ahead.
I think they have this, and then the rest of the games are like they have, like Kevin said, there's a couple Padre games, and then Cleveland is like the other team.
Oh yeah, Cleveland's in there too.
That's the other team that has like they haven't played any Cleveland yet, so they have like 7 games against Cleveland, and that's it. Yeah.
But no, those are series you should win. Like,
yeah,
if you're going to continue this match, those are the ones that you need to sweep. And then like against the Yankees and against Houston, just go for the series win or a split. Like that's fine. Now Houston, you probably should try to get because you want to get games on Houston. So the more wins against Houston, the better. Because like I said, the wild card situation it's going to be an S show toward the end. But just try to split against the good teams, or at least get a series win and sweep the poopy teams. Sweep them, for the love of God. At least get a minimum a series win.
JT?
Forgot what the question was. Ultimately, I think you asked that what my expectation is
For the second half.
If it matches what
Mhm.
Over this 14-game winning streak, I kind of did some quick math there around plus 40 run differential. And on the season overall, I just had it up there at 36. So before this, they were very much around just a 0 run differential. So after these 14 wins in a row, their Pythag and their like projection is still in the mid to maybe upper 80 wins. I don't know if that's going to cut it for wild card, but there's a lot of games to play, and there's some teams that might kind of fall the wayside. I think both Sean and Kevin touched on it. The next month next 30 days or so of games up until like mid, second week of August or so. That's a kind of a gauntlet. That's a lot of, home to Houston, home to Texas, at Houston, at the Yankees. I mean, it's just like there's some tough ones. Yeah, once you get through the middle of August, like that's when rubber meets the pavement. And like that might be a fun ending. I think my prediction was somewhere around the mid 80s, upper 80s games won. So I mean, it's all kind of like I said to start this off, a lot of averages. But at least it's fun to watch. I mean, obviously 14 in a row is going to be fun no matter what. But if anything, as with all Seattle sports, they keep you glued to your seat and eyes on the television because it's a roller coaster.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the Mariners, their first half of the season, their prospects, their draft, the All-Star game, the home run derby. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at _Matt. Sean is at Sean_Betty. Kev is at C2Believe, and JT is at JT_the Ginger. Before we go, JT, you've had 5 hats on, I think I've counted. Was it 4, 5? Okay, let's just go through the hats, please. Let's go through the hats.
Started off with the Werf hat. So shout out to the guys in my my background is the
there it
Werf
is.
League. So that's the first one's hat. Got my
Who's
Mariners.
winning the Werf League, by the way? Are you and Sean winning the Werf League right now? Or
No, Mark McElroy. Look him up on Twitter. He's a analyst. He lives in Canada and he's whooping our butts. Super nice guy though. So it's like, so I wear my Nationals hat that I got for $4.60 some a few years ago.
it's a good,
So that was my
You're hoping
Soto
for
love.
Juan Soto.
it's a good
right?
deal.
Yeah, future Mariner Juan Soto. You heard it
Yeah.
here first. And then I have my Arkansas Los Naturales Copa hat. This is my leftover money on the gift card that the Werf League got me. This is what I got with it. Because they had a
Nice.
pretty sweet deal on lids.com. And then got to represent with the Rooster Tails local Tri-City Dust Devils. I would own this hat no matter where this team played. This hat is just so much fun, and with the hydroplane race tie-in to the Tri-Cities, it's pretty awesome in my opinion.
All right. Well, those are some good hats. I need to get a Rooster Tail hat myself. But we should be back next week. But until next time, we will see you then on Washington East to West Sports.
Mariners going defeated.
Bring back the Sonic.